Hey lovely people, I'm Cameron, you can call me Cam, and welcome. Whether you're new here or not, it's a pleasure to have you. I'm really happy you're here and I'm really excited about today's video. I'm going to walk you through this makeup look that I just created. I'm going to call it my Summertime Fine makeup look using some of my favorite products from some of my favorite Black-owned beauty brands. Now I'm sure you're kind of seeing this as a trend as of late. A lot of people are making these types of videos highlighting and showcasing Black-owned makeup, Black-owned skincare, all of the above, and honestly I'm here for it. We all can use a little bit more awareness, and I think it's just really good to shine light and highlight the voices and the products of our Black and brown brothers and sisters who are just making really beautiful products and deserve to be amplified and purchased from if you're in a place to do so. Just so you know, these are products that I've purchased on my own and have had in my repertoire for a few years now for most of them, so just know that they're actual go-tos for me. I really stand behind the quality and the use of the products, so you'll hear my real reviews, my real thoughts on them, and how I use them on a daily basis, so just keep that in mind. Last thing before we dive into it, I just want to say really quickly a little favor. Please like this video and subscribe, it means a lot. And for those of you who have been subscribed, I just want to say a big thank you, especially now. I took some time off of recording and posting, probably about a month and a half now. After recording and publishing pretty consistently, I just really needed the mental health break, and I'm really grateful and feel a little bit more refreshed after having said break. And every time I reach those points, you know, I hope to gain tools and ways to move forward and be better the next time I experience this emotional mental exhaustion. So I only hope the same for you, and I just want to make sure that we're all on the same page and take breaks when we need, and that we need to normalize these types of conversations. Okay, let's get started. First up is foundation. This is the Say What foundation from Uoma Beauty. I've used this for a while now, and I've mentioned it in other tutorials and I think on Instagram before. I just genuinely love this foundation. It's a really nice medium to extra full coverage. It even says on the bottle that it's adjustable coverage. So for medium, you want to use it sparsely. For full coverage, you want to use it generously. And for extreme coverage, do it in layers. And I can personally attest to that. So a couple of things that I love about the Uoma Say What foundation. One is their shade range. It's really extensive, and I think we can all appreciate that, especially now more than ever, but really just in general, and especially if you're used to having to mix shades for your foundation or just can never find your shade at all. I highly recommend going on to Uoma's website or looking at their page on Ulta Beauty, because they have a really extensive and I think really well thought out skin tone shade finder, and I just really like the categories that they have. So the shade that I'm using is Honey Honey T1N, and Honey Honey is one of the shade families, let's say. I think they're called families. So I think they have maybe 5 or 6 families, and it's basically, you know, equivalent to fair, light, medium, tan, dark, deep, kind of that category situation. But within those areas they have, you know, different undertones, and they just make it really easy to find the shade that suits you. And I think that's one of the most important parts of finding a foundation, because that's one of the most confusing and difficult parts most of the time. Another thing that I love about it is the actual ingredients and the skincare elements, because most foundations, you know, they're just there to add color and to cover up whatever you're looking to cover up, whether it's a light or full coverage foundation. But this Uoma foundation is really built to, and this is in general terms, it's built to target specific skincare concerns, especially the skincare concerns of different shade ranges. So this might not be perfect for everybody, but generally speaking, like for example, the lighter shade ranges have elements that focus on anti-redness, anti-wrinkle, and hydration. And as you go into darker skin tones, it focuses on hyperpigmentation and oil control. Now again, I know not everybody who fits into those skin tone categories deals with those skincare concerns. However, I like the overarching support that's there, and I don't think that you have to shy away from using it if you feel like, let's say, you have a darker skin tone and your skin's more dry. It's not overly mattifying. Yes, it's full coverage, but it's very comfortable on the skin. And that leads me to my third point about Ulta. Uoma foundation is that it just feels really comfortable on the skin. And I'm sure you've heard plenty of other YouTubers and editors and reviewers talk about how foundation will feel on the skin and that it's weightless or that it feels heavy and cakey. And for a long time, I didn't really know what that meant because I'm just like, I have makeup on. It feels like I have makeup on. There's that. But like in the summertime, if you're looking for more full coverage or if you're just wearing foundation in the first place, you know what I mean? Like when you can feel the makeup, especially if you're sweating, especially if you've got sunscreen under, it just feels like a lot. This shade is actually a little bit more olive, so I tend to use it more when I have more color in the summertime, meaning I'm using it when it's warmer, and I can truly tell you it's the most comfortable foundation that I've ever worn. And I mean it. So I really highly suggest you all try it. So this is the finish so far on top of really light skincare, and I'm really warm right now, so I'm getting a little glistening, but you can tell that it really matches whatever your skin type and your skin prep is. It doesn't change the texture or the finish of your skin once you put it on. That's why I think it's more of a natural finish, and that's what I appreciate about it. It doesn't feel like it's suffocating my skin at all, especially because it has the potential to be extra full coverage, and I feel like even if I were to layer more and more of this, it would still feel as comfortable as it does right now. So that's why I recommend going in really light layers, and especially if you're trying it for the first time, just to experiment and see what kind of coverage you want out of it. But you'll know when you try it how comfortable it really is. I love it. Blend at the jawline, always, 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 always. Girl, I haven't done a video in literally a month, so I feel like I'm just rambling and I'm like out of breath as I'm telling you everything because I'm so excited to talk to you about things that I'm excited about. So I'm gonna take a deep breath. We're gonna move on to the next step. Concealer. This is the Uoma Woke Concealer. It's part of the same shade range or the shade system that I mentioned about the foundation, which makes it that much more of a breeze when you're trying to find your concealer shade, because I think it's one thing and like an accomplishment to find a foundation that works for you, but then to go and try to find a concealer, it just adds a little bit more stress. So this makes it a lot easier, and truth be told, this is, and I always want to be truthful with you, but I've used this and had this concealer for over a year now, and I have tried so many concealers. I'm a serial concealer searcher, and this is one of the concealers, maybe top 2 or 3, that creases the least on me, and I mean that in all sincerity. So I don't know what magic they have in here, and I'm saying that as a person with oily lids and with natural lines and folds under my eyes. It really does stay really, really well without looking too heavy, too cakey. You just gotta try it for yourself, I'm telling you. What I like about the corresponding concealer and foundation shade system is that it matches you with a concealer that's not too bright for your under eye. I realize a lot of people like to use concealer to brighten, and I think you may want to shade up if that is the case for you. However, this is super buildable, but it creates a really natural finish and just a really natural flow with the rest of your skin without looking like you didn't do anything. You know what I mean? Gonna finish my blend a little bit closer just so you can see what the coverage looks like and how it seamlessly just blends in with my foundation and just looks like my face and my skin without feeling too dark and not canceling out the darkness under my eyes, but also again not being too bright. I really do think it's perfect, and I just love, love, love it. For some more color on the face, I'm gonna go in with some blush and bronzer. This is my oldie but goodie Femme Rosa cheek and face palette from ColourPop. It's a collaboration with Karrueche. I love that woman's beautiful face, and you know, you buy stuff from the person who you think you're going to be able to look like, right? So basically this means I'm going to become Karrueche, so watch and learn. One thing that I will always stress when using a powder product on a dewy, hydrated base, especially after you put down your foundation, think of when you put powder, like setting powder, on your foundation. You're doing that to take away the shine and to set the makeup in place. So when you're using a colored powder, i.e. a bronzer, a blush, you're doing the same thing with that powder, except with color. So that's why your blush and bronzer might come out a little bit patchy, and you might be like, why? Because that powder is literally absorbing the hydration and the moisture in your skin like a setting powder would, but it's got color. So start really, really light, and I say start closer to the ear because you get a little bit more forgiveness there, and just go super, super light in your blend. When you start out heavy, that's when you might have a little bit more regerts. Barely dust it on, and that's when you can work with it a little bit more. It's always easier to add more than to take away, right? It's my philosophy when cooking and painting my face, because we've had a lot of moments where I wish I could take it away. Get a little up on the forehead. Again, lightly dusting, barely touching my skin, barely moving my skin. I think it's easy to get rough with your skin, and you just want to take extra care of it because it's taking care of you, but also you don't want to disturb the layers of foundation and skincare and whatever else you have, and you just want to make your makeup actually work for you rather than feeling like it's working against you. If you do notice that it's going on a little bit patchy, that's okay. I just say when in doubt, blend it out, and you can always go back in with your foundation brush, either add more foundation to it or use whatever is left, and just do your best to blend and carve out some edges and whatever you need. You can always fix it, but that's my recommendation. Also, if you're down, use your setting powder, your translucent powder, on top of the areas where you're going to be adding the bronzer and the blush so that it creates that base for you, and the powder, the colored powder, the bronzer, the blush, will not set your makeup. The actual setting powder will. Try it. Can you tell that I'm a little sweaty? It's a good glow. I'm not going to deny it, but girl, I'm about to have a wet upper lip in a hot second. And that's when you know it's summertime. Also, it's hot in this room. I've got my lights going and I have a wall AC unit, which is loud as ever, so it would ruin the video. So we're making a little bit of sacrifices for this content today, just so you know. Going in with the blush from the Carucci palette, tapping off, getting my little apples of my cheeks high and ready, and adding some color, like so, like that. I don't know about you, but basically all my quarantine lockdown content has been Miss Tabitha Brown, because she makes me smile. Add it wherever you want extra color, because that's your business. Alright, I'm done. I'll stop impersonating her. Before I get too much further and my whole face starts to melt off, I'm going to add some setting powder, just so that we can all get that out of the way. Using some setting powder from Cover FX, and I'm checking under my eyes to see if there's any creasing, and y'all, no, I'm telling you, this concealer is amazing. Just popping it where I get the most shine. For me, the hot zones are under my eyes, above my brows, so I don't have any brow product on yet. That's why I just go real heavy with it, because they'll get really shiny really quickly. Gotta get that upper lip, am I right, ladies? And the chinny chin chin. Also going to use some on my lids as a really light primer, so just getting rid of any excess concealer and patting directly onto my lid. Speaking of brows, just did them really quickly. Didn't share because it's nothing special right now. Onto eyelids and some color. Using one of my favorite palettes, the Mented Everyday Eyeshadow Palette. Mine's a little bit torn up because I may or may not have dropped her. R.I.P. This is a mess. But I'm using this darker brown shade in the corner, and I'm going to put it directly at the base of my eyelid, closest to my lashes, and put it all over. Nothing fancy because we'll blend it out. And here we are blending it out. What I love about these shadows is that they're truly buildable. I think we can get really excited about shadows that are really pigmented and are really opaque, but that can be really tricky, especially if you're just trying to do something light and simple, or if you're just not comfortable with using that much color. So I actually layered this quite a bit, but I felt like I had control every step of the way, and it's not so sheer and so light on your first application that it's not even there. I've used plenty of shadows that are less than exciting, and I just think this is perfect. So I really do think it stands by its name of everyday, not only in the shade and the neutrals that it offers, but just in the texture. It's not so heavy and so intense that you feel like you don't know what you're doing. It's just right. Goldilocks would love it. You know what I'm saying? So blending out the edges, and then I'm going to go in with a lighter shade, this more ochre tone, and I'm going to put that at my crease and blend it up. It's okay to have the two shades overlap. I actually prefer that, and I like using this lighter, warmer shade because it helps give it that really nice ombre effect. Very smoky. I did experience a touch of fallout using that lighter color. Partly I think it's because of the brush. When you're using a more domed, fluffy brush, it just has more points of entry into the actual top layer of powder, so it kicks up a little bit more dust, as opposed to this flatter brush that I was using for the brown. It just didn't create that much friction. So something to keep in mind. So I recommend either saving the rest of your complexion for after your eyeshadow, or just using your powder as you bake bake and set as you bet your under eyes. You know, that will help catch the fallout, and then you can just wipe it off when you're done. Food for thought. Now I'm going to use this beautiful Broken shade. It's a really pretty bronzy, deep chocolate color. And I'm going to put this over the dark brown that I just applied, just for some extra shimmer, to add some definition and some depth without overpowering. And also because I used the lighter shade on top of the darker shade, as I mixed the shadows, can you see a little bit of a difference? It's a really pretty subtle shimmer that I think just adds really pretty drama to the eyes. But as I applied that lighter shade over my darker cocoa, I think it made it a little bit dusty, a little ashy. So this is just a really good way to blend the two together without needing to be too technical, because the shimmer will just do the work for you. Sorry, my angles with this palette are terrible. I really just don't want this to fall out all over the place. So using this lighter, more golden but still very copper shimmer color, I'm using a little tiny inner corner brush, and guess where it's going? You guessed it, the inner corner. So just going really, really lightly, and picking up an eye boogie. They're always there, always. And blending into the socket, just because I like the way that it connects with the rest of the eye makeup, and just being really, really light with it. I don't need it to be a blinding inner corner, especially because this color isn't super bright. It's not like a light champagne or a gold necessarily, so it doesn't pop that much. And if I were to be really heavy with it, I think it would weigh down the look more than I want it to. But because it's brighter than what I have down, I think it creates a nice little contrast. Using the first original dark brown shade and applying it directly to my under eye, right at my lash line. Sorry if my angles are a little crazy. Again, I feel a little bit rusty. But using a short, flat shader brush and lightly dusting back and forth, almost brushing through the bottom lashes just so you're getting as close to that lash line as you can, because you don't want to have a lot of space in between. Otherwise, it just looks a little bit hollow under there. And you don't always have to, but I like to connect these two, the edges. Sometimes I like having it disconnected. It creates a really nice illusion, but I like bringing it all together today. So that's what I'm going to do. Then using the last shade that I used, or just kidding, the color before that, the dark cocoa shimmer, and going over that, just to add a little bit more light reflectivity and warmth to it. Lastly, dropping brushes left and right. Lastly, using that ochre shade, it's a little bit deeper than an ochre, a toasted ochre, and I'm going to go over in the same area, just a lot of layering, but being sure to bring it a little bit farther down than the first two colors, just to create more of that actual shadow effect. That's why it's called eyeshadow, you know what I'm saying? And just to give it a little bit more of a ombre, diffused, drawn out look. And this works really well, especially if you're going to be using lower lash mascara, which I am. Sometimes it looks a little gray if you don't have anything under there, but with the mascara it ties it all together. And you'll see that now. Mascara really does make all the difference. Am I right or am I right? Here's the up close, the finished look of the eye. I did a couple layers of MAC Extended Play Mascara, and then these are all of the shades and shadows from the Mented Everyday Eyeshadow Palette. I cannot stress this enough. One, this is one of my favorite eyeshadow looks. I'll probably say that every single time that I do a chocolatey smoky eye on myself and on anybody. It just works wonders, and I highly recommend the Mented Everyday Eyeshadow Palette. Again, it's good for beginners, it's good for seasoned pros, and I think the beauty of finding a neutral eyeshadow palette, and the term neutral or nude doesn't always fit everybody, right? So that's why I really love the Mented palette. I'm going to try and show you it a little bit better. It has nudes and shades for just about and literally every skin tone, and I think that's the beauty of a brand made by people with melanated skin that know what people need. Check it out. And again, on the texture of the shadows and achieving this kind of a look, you just need a little bit of color and a little bit of blending, and it goes a very long way. I love it. And now onto lips. I'm really, really excited about this step. Introducing the Lip Bars Baby Bellini. It's a really pretty creamy lipstick. So if you like mattes, they have matte formulas, but it does not come in this bullet. But just know it's so comfortable. This shade is perfect because it's nice and peachy. My lips are pretty pink and my skin tone is pretty warm, and I think this just highlights both of those tones and creates a really nice, natural, but even and bright skin tone. So yes, this is a nude. It's a little bit more on the peachy side for me, but I absolutely love it. The Lip Bar is especially special for me because not only is it a Detroit-owned brand, it's a female-owned brand, and it's a Black-owned brand. So finding out about the lip bar in LA after I moved from Detroit to LA in 2018. It was my way of having a little bit of Detroit with me, a little bit of hustle with me while I'm exploring the beauty world here in LA, and it just felt like this really beautiful melding of worlds. So it holds a special place in my heart. Next up, a little bit of gloss. You all know we can never go wrong with a little bit of gloss bomb from Miss Robin Fenty. Rihanna. Unfortunately, it's not very mask friendly like most makeup, but when you're home, when you're chilling, when you're in your backyard, wherever you can relax mask free, throw on some gloss, see how you feel. Dance around a little bit. Our very last step is some highlighter today. I'm going to use the shade HUSTLA Baby from, again, Miss Fenty, who can do no wrong in the eyes of most people. Oh, hello. Pat it onto my high points and get the glow going. I love this shade particularly because it has a nice gold shine to it, so it's not too cold or silver feeling, and especially when you're a little bit more golden in the summer, or if you're just golden on your own, it really highlights that and feels natural but still gives you that pa-pow that you want from a highlighter. Alright, that is it from me, y'all. One, because I'm quite literally burning up right now, but also two, I didn't even show you the cute side of my fan, sorry. Shout out Dollar Tree. But two, we're done. The look is finished. We got our cute summertime fine, glossy, glowy, chocolatey, bronzy eye look. We are done. If you got a little scarf, throw it on, get your cute headband going on, especially when it's super hot. I don't even know why I have my hair up here. I know if you got long, thick hair, you know that that's the #1 heat factor. Creates a radiation situation. Beyonce who? Just kidding. Anyway, as always, I so greatly appreciate you all, especially after taking some time off. It felt really good to be back recording, although I felt a little rusty and maybe a little breathless at times, like I just kind of forget to breathe. It's fine. What are you gonna do? I just want you to know that when I record, although my reality is that I'm literally in an empty room with lights and a camera just talking to myself, I never actually feel that way. I always anticipate having you on the other end and having the connection that we have and being able to communicate and have conversation in the comments. So please just know you make me feel a little warm and fuzzy, and making these videos really is an awesome process for me. So with that said, in the comments, just say hey, it's been a little bit, I miss you. And we've all had a lot of time on our hands, so if you've been watching a lot of videos, consuming just a lot of content that's out there, more specifically beauty related, if that's what you're into and if that's why you're here, if there's anything that you're missing, any topics, any product reviews, any techniques, anything at all, if there are any gaps that I can bridge, something that you're looking for, if you just want my take on it, let me know. I'm happy to provide my voice wherever I can. With that said, I want to get to a couple formalities. First and foremost, please like this video and subscribe to my channel. Share it if you feel like it. Gotta get that out of the way, but it's really important. It helps to grow my little tiny baby channel. It helps nourish her, grow her into the beautiful adult that we all want to see her be. So please do what you can. And also, I just want to take a quick moment and make a reminder for everybody here, myself included, to use the energy that you have on a daily basis, whatever you're capable of, because I know every day can feel different than the other, but just to continue to use your voice and your energy, and to continue to use the resources that are out there to, and create resources for people who may not have them, to continue the fight against injustice we're seeing here in our country, especially against brown and black people, but it's really everywhere. But we all got to start with our home base, and I know that a lot of it can feel really overwhelming, especially if you spend a lot of your time on social media. That's part of the reason why I needed to take the break that I did. We all are capable of being able to push the needle closer and closer toward change every day. So again, it's a reminder for myself, but for all of us, that we all have the power to do that, and we all need to use our power to do that. If you weren't familiar with the handful of brands that I shared today, Mented Cosmetics, Uoma Beauty, the Lip Bar, Fenty, just to name a few, just a handful, I highly recommend taking some time to look into them and see if you find any products that may be suitable for you. I'm sure you will. And if you're in a place to actually purchase them, I highly recommend it. It's always a good day when we can support black and brown businesses, especially female businesses. You know what I'm saying. But if you're not, times are a little tough and money's a little short. I know what that feels like. Just do your research, put together a little wish list, or recommend it to some of your friends and family who can make the purchases as well. Okay, I'm actually done, I promise. Stepping off my tiny little soapbox. I'm actually melting, but thankfully, shout out to setting powder, you wouldn't be able to tell. We've got helicopters flying outside, shout out LA right now. Taking that as my time to go. I love you so much. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. It really means the world. I'll see you in the next video. Chat with me down below, and take care of yourselves. Bye.